All right, listen, like, I mean, we do have to cut out the production issues because, like, it has been just a little bit too messy there in the first match. Like, honestly, Thomas, we need to get it together now for the second one. Like, it's not been working out, and I think chat might be starting to notice that, like, it's going a little bit wrong. I think, like, you know, just having the dashboard up for a little bit too long. What the fuck do you mean we're like? Hey everyone, welcome back to week 5 of British and Irish Pro League. As yeah, we have good times here. This is going to be fun. We're going to Div 1, Orion.
Div 1 it is. Div 1 it is. And instead of looking at the sharp end of the table, we are going to be watching a relegation battle here. Now, we've got Nyaruko, Babz, Dank, and Gibbonster, who are all at the bottom of the table currently. Nyaruko is leading these. He's currently tied 11th on 7 points. He has a best result of 2nd. Babz and Dank are tied on 15th on 5 points. Their best result is 3rd. And Gibbonster is currently 14th on 6 points with a best result of 2nd. So this match really is going to decide who drops down to Div 2 and who stays up. I feel like Nyaruko is probably the strongest player here. Babz, I know, did miss a week, though, so that explains potentially why he's a bit lower than we would expect him. But these are all very capable players, and it's going to be sad to see some of them drop down to Div 2 here.
Yeah, and as you say, unfortunately for all of them, it's not they're spread around different matches in this last week. It does mean that for one of them, whoever wins this match, very good chance of climbing their way out of this bottom 4 and managing to avoid elimination. But it does mean that for the bottom 4 players coming in to this, 3 of them being here, there are a limited number of points that they can all pick up, which does mean that, yeah, a significant number of the players in this match are going to be dropping out here tonight, that they are going to be leaving Div 1 behind. And Orion, why don't you explain, by the way, just for everyone at home, just so that we're all on the same page, how we're losing 4 players from Div 1 but only gaining 3 from Div 2, and explain where the 4th player who's going to be joining Div 1 next season comes from.
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, I was worried about that. Someone will tell us. Someone will tell us, I'm sure, at some point. We'll get there. I don't know. I see the 4 bars marked red on the scoreboard, on the leaderboards overall, and so I'm pretty sure that we're going to be losing 4 players out of Div 1 here, which means that's a full quarter of the field getting eliminated. I'm going to assume some form of open qualifications. That seems like a reasonable bet.
Thinking that maybe, yeah, that feels like it could be a thing.
Yeah. See, there you go. We've got chat are on the ball. Honestly, we need to get some chat in here to do some casting next season, because clearly they know what's going on, even if we don't necessarily. But we are edging ever closer to this match, edging ever closer to the first round, where we will be back onto Getical for a first time, seeing which of these players does come out just that little bit faster. As you said, all of these players desperately need the points. They all need to prove they can do it, and this is a match where it can be done.
Yeah, it can. I mean, we were speaking to Babz on stream yesterday, and his mentality was that he's going to win. That's how he feels.
It's just that simple.
Literally. Yep. He feels like he can beat the other players in the lobby because they're all at the bottom of the table, but it's because they've consistently been playing players that are above them. Now they're all together in this match, and it is just going to be survival of the fittest here. As we say, Nyaruko seeming to have the better run of results so far and has played much tougher opposition as well. I think he got a bit unlucky one week where he had like a couple of good players, maybe like an Acros or an Epos or something like two in one, so a 3rd place there. So I'm looking at him as a potential victor here, but as for the other 3, I'm really not sure. Could go anyway.
I do really enjoy that the 2 players that you mentioned by name as potentially looking to win this map are the 2 players who have crashed here in round 1, and there goes Nyaruko with another one at the back of the field. But it's fine. It's going to be a very tight race up at the front. Dank will take that first place available, and less than a 10th behind him comes Gibbonster, Babz, and Nyaruko. They're
Hold on.
Yes, I'm holding.
It is possible that we may have to restart this match entirely because for some reason the admin has set the points limit to 120 when it should be 100.
Maybe they just want it to be spicy. I don't know. Maybe we've had there could have been a quick rule change.
Killjoy. Killjoy. You're in trouble.
It's broken, Killjoy. All right, we're going to throw our toys out of the pram until someone comes and fixes this. But we'll fix it, I'm sure, pretty quickly. I don't think we can just take 20 points away from every player. That doesn't seem like a thing that we're capable of. So, like you say, probably a full reset.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, we might as well cast these rounds for now and just see how the players are coping. Dank had a really good first round, but he has found himself at the back here, and we will go upfield towards Gibbonster, who is in third place. Babz now in the lead with Nyaruko, the two players that crashed in the previous round, having a much better round this time around. That's a lot of times that I've just said the word round, but I'm going to keep saying the word round because the winner of this round is going to be Babz.
It's going to be Babz, and he does it with a time that's around 54 seconds, but not quite. He is 2,000ths off that. It was nearly a nice round number there, but he hasn't managed to pull that off. And yeah, we're still waiting for a quick update on exactly what is going to be happening here. Yeah, obviously the issue was that they knew that the Irish players were going to finish first in the first two rounds, and they needed some way to deny them that. Although, to be fair, I mean, the Irish did the same thing to the Irish in the Irish Trackmania Open Cup. When who was it who repeatedly won rounds? Or no, Babz repeatedly lost rounds and got eliminated in the first round and then kept resetting the server. So honestly, Babz deserves this. I'll say it.
Yeah, I don't really know what happens now. What I did point out that was wrong with the points has now been addressed, with Leo coming into the server and in all caps typing "stop." I think Gibbonster possibly plays with HUD off and is just driving by himself, thinking he's driving the absolute round of his life here in first place.
God, I hope he gets a really good time.
Yeah, I really hope he does, and then puts the HUD on and just sees that no one else has been driving. That would be absolutely perfect.
Get him,
I might even just put like an NT in chat as well. See how believable. He doesn't even get to finish. Come on, man.
Honestly cruel. That's messed up by the admins. Honestly, we'll probably figure it out. Just deciding how to proceed. We will figure this out. I'm sure.
Oh, he's just practicing. He's just practicing, Alexander.
Okay, he's just practicing. That's fine. Was that my full name? I heard.
No. The Trackmania dings.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
the meme practicing? Yeah.
I thought you were just addressing me by.
No, I forgot your name was Alexander.
Yeah. I was like, that's really weird. I haven't done anything too badly wrong. I mean, I cursed a little bit, but surely that's not full name worthy, like.
Oh my god, that's perfect.
Oh, Jesus, and chat have figured out that they can emulate my childhood bullies by calling me Delamer. Oh, no, it's all gone horribly wrong. Oh, no, it's been figured out by production. Oh, gee. Oh, Lord above. Well, you know, it was a nice evening for a little while there, and then the Irish came on stream, and we immediately started stripping them of first-place finishes, and now here we are. It's just all gone horribly wrong.
Can I get a I love Trackmania esports in chat? Anyone? Because we currently do not know what is happening. Leo has now said continue, but we've had quite a few rounds of DNFs and...
Sure. And Nyaruko is threatening to die if we continue with a match that started at 120 points, because his cough may not hold out. Interesting. But we're just going to jump straight back into it. Live with 2 rounds left on Getical. Starting from 120 points, that just means that, well, you can call rigged if someone drops out when they should have been on last chance otherwise. So we'll keep track of that when we get to the end of the match. But good signs still for the Irish players as we get into it. Bad signs for Gibbonster as the extra practice has not paid off. He has made an early mistake here on Getical.
Yes, he has, but as you say, the 2 Irish players chasing down Nyaruko for first place. Babz into a lead here on the dirt. But Nyaruko with a tighter line, more speed, switching positions constantly, managed to get through the tight drift there. Dank has gone a bit too low on the grass section there and finds himself a little way off the pace of the front 2. And we're going to ride on board now with Babz as he is trying to challenge Nyaruko for the win in this round. Only a couple of corners left and not really much to gain at the end here. Nyaruko with a much tighter line as well should make the finish. Babz is not going to make the finish though. Opted to go for the safe fin, and that is going to allow Dank to come in and snipe second place.
I was going to say it, and I didn't think I was going to have as much justification as I had. You said it. There's not much to gain at the finish, but there's plenty to lose at this finish. Just so many protruding corners that you get your line slightly wrong, you're going to go flying into it. And Babz kind of just proves the point there as well, not feeling safe with having lost a little bit of speed, heading onto that last jump and choosing to take the safe line instead. That's rough, and it does mean that Nyaruko and Dank are joint on 106 points, and Babz has dropped down to just 107 in front of them.
Yeah, no real clear, I don't want to say winner, what's the right word? Leader. No clear leader here at the moment. Everyone's still within about 5 or 6 points of each other as Nyaruko flies across the screen there after that clip on the inside, and Babz in a firm first position. Dank with a bit of a mistake as well, and it is going to be between Gibbonster and Babz for the win here, only separated by 0.2 as things stand. Gibbonster almost clipping there just before he entered the plastic, and Babz extending his lead. He's going to try and make up for the previous round here. Gets this last turn much better. Just about makes the finish. That would have been a curse, as I was commentating very much in the present there. And Babz almost didn't quite make it. Gibbonster was very close behind.
Honestly, I think we might be glad that we started on 120 points, because if this match continues the way it has started, things are going to be dramatic right down to the end, and just a little bit more runway to land this plane might be appreciated by the time we get there, as there is only 10 points separating the players after our first round. And as a reminder, it is a 9-point swing between first and fourth in any of these given rounds, so that is absolutely nothing at all. And I think this is what we were hoping for from this match. Maybe a little bit messy here at the bottom of Div 1, as these players are all quite close to each other in the standings, and proving to be quite close to each other in terms of, if not skill, at least preparation for this match.
Yeah, it's definitely a four-way fight, which is, as much as we could have hoped for here. All of these players fighting for their Division 1 lives here. And perhaps not as consistent as we've seen the other Division 1 players either. So mistakes can happen, and when they do, they tend to be pretty dramatic ones as well. But it just shows that these players really are kind of pushing to their own limits, and they all are around the same level.
Yeah, and so far that level is anything between first and fourth. I mean, we'd have to check the tapes, but it does feel like each of these players probably has at least one fourth at this point, and probably at least one first as well. I don't know. It's hard to remember with chaos flying everywhere, with these players driving everywhere around the map. Nyaruko, I think, definitely having the worst time of the big mistakes, but the fact that he's still within touching distance of the rest of them shows that even his big mistakes, even those mistakes that have cost him all the way down to a fourth place, offset by the fact that he's just driving very quickly, and it's another fast time here in warm-up.
Yeah, both Gibbonster and Nyaruko driving consistently in the warm-up round. Babz and Dank both making mistakes, but it's not the warm-up round that counts, as we well know. It is the live rounds, and we go into our first one here on Cold by Mime, and it's Nyaruko in the lead early on. Dank with a touch could be out of this round before it's even really started, and that is going to leave our top three to sail off into the distance.
Yep, pretty bad focus from Dank, and honestly from Babz as well, as he will drop back behind Gibbonster, just getting a little bit too outside, but Nyaruko with another big mistake, and Babz, I'm sorry for everything, immediately regains the lead. It is now a fight with Gibbonster, as they are wheel to wheel, neck and neck through the middle of the track, and Babz has managed to regain it a little bit faster off the grass. Yeah,
that grass section, again, I talked about it earlier. You can gain so much time there, but it is such a risk. Babz, I think he's managed to respawn there, so I don't know how much time he's going to lose. He dropped down to third at the moment, all the way down to fourth, unfortunately, for Babz. First to last, and that's really going to hurt him as well. Gibbonster should have this round pretty much for free. Nyaruko is a little bit too far back to really challenge. Gibbonster, Nyaruko, 1 and 2. Is Dank going to beat out Babz? Yes, he is. Dank and Babz in third and fourth.
The main effect of that, though, and Babz crashing out, is to actually just consolidate the leaderboard even more. As they are all now within, 4 points of each other after our first round on Cold. Incredibly tight. Honestly, I'm hoping we get this all the way to the end. It seems implausible, but nothing's impossible.
I'm wondering about the performance on Capital specifically, because obviously that map has been known for the longest amount of time. Players have had the longest amount of time to practice that map as well. So I feel like maybe that's where we could see the consistence separated from the inconsistence, perhaps. With maps like this, I feel like it is just a matter of survival. We're seeing at least one player make a mistake around, if not two, more often than not. And this map is a map that really can catch you out as well. It's so difficult to drive consistently, as Gibbonster with a tiny little touch there. And you can just see a mistake as small as that, Dank making a mistake as well. And immediately they are over a second behind. Babz trying to chase down Nyaruko, but I think the gap is too much. Oh, no, Nyaruko touches the inside. Babz has been gifted victory here. Surely just has to make the finish. Over the corner, sails in, and I think he might have even gone from all the way in last there to first.
Oh, it's a Babz moment. Nyaruko doing exactly what Babz did on the previous round. First to last in slightly more dramatic fashion, doing it on the second last turn. Getting completely dumpstered by that dirt. The COP people are out in our Div 2 kind of finals, as we saw, you know, what decided people qualifying through. It's that last couple of dirt turns. Even if you're in the lead, you still have to be aware of them. And I think the worst part is Nyaruko really did not need to be risking that, had a big enough lead. And Gibbonster has an early mistake on this round.
Yep, once again, it is 3 drivers looking for the winners. Another early mistake, this time from Gibbonster. As we go onto the plastic, and it's Babz in the lead and carrying more speed out this turn. Nyaruko with a huge bonk, full dead there. Takes the checkpoint as well, so isn't able to respawn. So he will be all the way at the back as we focus on our battle between Dank and Babz. Babz has made a mistake on the grass, and that's going to allow Gibbonster now to come back into second place. Reminder, he made a mistake right at the start, but in second and possibly even able to challenge the win if Dank makes a mistake up front. Babz with a small clip as well, but Nyaruko is way behind. He's just touched the wall again. So it's between Gibbonster and Dank. Dank is a bit wobbly on the exit. He's managed to avoid the wall, though, and Dank should be taking this round, but there is no clear. Oh, Dank's missed the finish! Gibbonster in first place! Oh, my word, this is just so chaotic.
In absolute awe of these abilities to just refuse to take first place. Just not a single one of these players interested in cleanly winning a round. Even when their opponents do everything possible to make sure that one of them crosses the line in first, somehow, some way, they find a wall or a hole or a finish line to crash into. Genuinely shocking. Shocking. But the worst part is, Dank, Orion, as I'm losing my mind. I'm watching Dank and I cannot get past it. The worst part is, Orion, is that all of these players are showing the pace. All of them are showing that they can pull away from the pack, that they can keep it clean. And then something silly happens. They turn their brains off for one of the last corners, and all of a sudden it's all thrown down the gutter.
Well, Nyaruko and Gibbonster have both driven a 102.0. Babz on a 102.3, but Dank on a 104.0. But still competitive. I mean, he's still on 88 points, so it just shows that it is, you know, either a clean round or absolute chaos.
That's it. And Dank has thrown this round away, is now 9 seconds away from everyone else. Nyaruko may have just thrown away second place, as Gibbonster will have speed. Babz just needs to not crash the finish. Gibbonster needs to just stay ahead of Nyaruko. It is going to be a first. It is close for Gibbonster, but still a clean finish, finishing a 10th ahead of Nyaruko, who takes the third place, and Dank will limp across the line in fourth. And that's a big round win for Babz, who is still near the top of that leaderboard, and Gibbonster and Babz now pulling a little bit in front of the rest of them.
Well, that was just an absolute mess on Cole, really, but that is just testament to the difficulty of the map. But one thing to point out, biggest storyline to take away from that is Nyaruko, who we thought probably could be a likely victor. You still
think he could be a likely victor? He just needs to stop crashing. He's genuinely gotten out into leads an awful lot of the time. He has regularly, consistently been getting out to leads, being the fastest car on that track, and then just finds the nearest wall and dives into it head first.
Yeah, which isn't ideal, really. No. If you're trying to win the rounds, you kind of want to, you know, get into first place and stay there. And he hasn't really managed that. And he is trailing by quite considerable margin now. I mean, we talked about how close they were. I think we went into cold and they were separated by only 4 points. Now Nyaruko on 67 and the nearest player is Dank on 78. So definitely not insurmountable, but it's a bigger gap than it was, and that is just the gap to third place now. So Nyaruko gonna have some work to do to reclose that gap and make this match close once again.
Yeah, I mean, look, I sounded very confident in my belief that Nyaruko could come back, but then he started quoting Sound of Silence in the chat, and that's not a great headspace to have the player you're betting on in, if I'm being totally honest. Like, that's where things start to go downhill, and you're like, ooh, maybe, and hear me out here, he's not particularly confident on Capital.
I mean, yeah, his first week was not the best. He got a third place, and I do remember him struggling on this map. Whether he's trained it specifically, that will remain to be seen as we go.
I'm gonna guess no based on that message.
4 rounds. Yeah, I'm gonna guess no as well. But it would be a shame to see him drop out in fourth. I mean, we're still a way off as we have another 3-horse race. I think that was Dank there making a mistake, and he's already half a second behind by the second checkpoint. We still have a long way to go. Babz and Nyaruko separated by mere hundredths. Babz so close to the wall, but it's actually Gibbonster with the better line, getting himself back into the fight here. But jump just a little bit too wide. Gibbonster losing the gear as well, and that is going to open up the gap to second and first. Just that little bit more. Babz still chasing Nyaruko and hanging on there. Nyaruko very close to that wall there. Babz with a better drift, might have a better grass inside line here as well, but does go high on exit. Nyaruko maintaining the gap, but here we go into another potential clown show of a finish. So easy to touch the outside wall, but no one doing it. Nyaruko making the finish safely this time. So does Babz, so does Gibbonster, and Dank rounding out the pack.
Yeah, honestly, shockingly clean. You're absolutely right. That felt like a round where we would see at least one person managing to crash that finish line, because there's just been too clean up until that point. Dank, sure, with an early touch, but from there on out, it was pretty straightforward. And when it's straightforward, when no one crashes, Nyaruko wins the round. That's my takeaway from that one. And Nyaruko needs to calm down. Remember that as well. Remember that he has the pace to be a top contender in this match, and just keep that car out of the wall.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. When the round is close and consistent, it does seem that Nyaruko has the pace advantage, and he does seem more comfortable on this map than we were alluding to. I mean, he's had a bit of a bad slide there. I mean, I wouldn't call it a mistake, just a poor slide, but it has allowed Babz now up into first place. But we will ride on board with Nyaruko. I mean, that round win in the first round there was big, because he was in fourth place, really couldn't afford a bad result. So getting just that -1 has brought Dank a lot closer to him, but he's staring down the barrel of third. Never mind, Babz clips the inside. Nyaruko back up into second. Might even be able to get Gibbonster here with more speed, but Gibbonster a little bit too far away. Never mind. Gibbonster finish issue again, all the way back down to last. Nyaruko says, thank you very much. I will take that first place gladly.
I swear to God, I think I saw the future there for a second, because they went onto that dirt, and all that was going through my head the entire way around that turn was Nyaruko's going to win this round. Nyaruko's going to win this round. Nyaruko's going to win this round. And it happened. I don't know what to tell you, man. I think I just predicted the future.
You should have said something. You would have.
I should have said it, but
genius.
you sounded so good, Orion. You were mid-flow. I wasn't gonna just shout across you there. Nyaruko's immediately thrown all the goodwill that I had towards them away after managing to pick that one up. And
do you know what? I'll throw a prediction out there. Nyaruko's still gonna win this round.
Honestly, yeah, I see it. There he goes, up into third place already, just staying on board with Nyaruko, seeing how the climb goes. Okay, he's lost it again. Like, it's slipping away a little bit, okay. It's gonna come right back to him, though. The faithful are rewarded as Nyaruko climbs back to third. It's still gonna be a tough ass, though. I mean, just a couple more mistakes in front, and I mean, there's still plenty of room to make those mistakes. They keep it out of that wall, and that one could have cost either of these players. Everyone managing to hold onto the gear on the grass, no one gonna just drive off the track. Not gonna happen here, as they all keep it clean onto the dirt. There's a tight battle for first place. That's going to be very close. Gibbonster looking to snipe that one away. Gibbonster is going to snipe that one away in front. Nyaruko doesn't win the round, but Gibbonster seizes the prophecy, takes that first place, and sets his own destiny.
Yeah, that's huge. But I tell you a player that we haven't really been talking a lot about, and that is Babz, consistently getting second and third places, and now finds himself in the lead of this match. Dank has definitely dropped down quite considerably on Captal, down to 55 points now, when I think he was about 11 points clear of Nyaruko. So Nyaruko has had a better map, but still consistency not quite in his favor as he makes another touch on the wall there, and back down to fourth place. But Babz driving pretty well here. Nyaruko with a no slide should mean he is completely out of this one as we focus on our top three now. Dank is going to have to try and push everything here because he does not want to lose any more points to Babz and Gibbonster.
Yeah, a single round win would be so big for Dank at the moment. Just one round of -1 would be massive, but it's not looking in the cards for this one as that top two does start to get a little bit further away. He's now a full half second behind them again as Gibbonster is trying to make the chase happen. It happened last round, managing to get that snipe on the line. Can he do it again? He's a little bit further away. He does once again have the speed, but it looks like Babz might just be a little bit too far in front. That will be the case. It's a 10th of a difference. Dank does take a third. Nyaruko, that early mistake proving a little bit too costly.
Yeah, Gibbonster seeming to have a very good ending there. Babz is going quite safe on that outside dirt just before the finish, and you can't blame him. It is so easy just to touch the wall there, and if you do so, that is all your speed gone and a real 50-50 chance of even making that finish. So Babz playing it safe, Gibbonster catching at the end, but that time the gap that he opened up throughout the course of the map was a little bit too large, as we do now go back onto our technical map, Getical, and there was no clear favorite here. So I'm kind of expecting to see all the gaps stay reasonably the same between all the players by the end of this map. And I don't think we're going to see anyone really drop out, barring a lot of mistakes from either Nyaruko or Dank.
Yeah, and I mean, the problem is, though, for Nyaruko and Dank is that we're getting to a point where the gap staying the same for them starts to be a real issue, because the gap from first to them is now half of their point score, essentially, right? And, you know, you're kind of assuming you're going to lose probably in a match that is overall this close, around 20 points at least per map. And so if the gaps stay the same, then all of a sudden they're probably around 25-30 points with a 25-point gap to the car in first. And that's a scary place to be as we head towards the end of the match.
Yeah, it really is. They want to try and close that gap. So Dank and Nyaruko want to be winning the rounds. I'm trying to think who had the stronger round on this before, but I think we literally said that every player probably had a first place, and it seemed like everyone had a fourth place.
I know
as
for
well.
a fact that Babz and Dank did, because we were talking about the possibility that they'd get it stolen away from them, and then I'm pretty sure both of them had a little bit of a nightmare at some point as well. I know there was a couple of crashes from them, so yeah, I mean, maybe the players are a little bit more warmed up, maybe things go differently, but I think you're right. This was so even that it looks likely that it'll be pretty even again. And honestly, again, Nyaruko had the pace on this map, and this was where the kind of wall issues began to creep in. So Nyaruko by himself might make things interesting.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that he had a clean round before, though, because I'm looking at the local records, and Babz on a 53.9, Gibbonster on a 54.0, Dank on a 54.6, and Nyaruko doesn't have a time in the top 16, and he's just full sent it into the checkpoint.
I'm sorry for laughing, but like, it's a little funny. Like, I mean, it's a little bit funny. Dank will be a long way back as well. A little bit of a touch there. And barring, again, a mistake in front of him, Dank now at a contention for the top two in this round. Gibbonster in this familiar position, trying to chase down Babz, hoping for a mistake from Babz at the finish. And Babz can just take it easy. Babz had a mistake of his own on this finish earlier. Won't be one this time around. Gibbonster to a safe second place. Dank takes the third. Nyaruko still hunting for that elusive clean time here on Getical.
Yeah, Dank and Nyaruko, the third and fourth place, currently finishing that way in the round as well. So that's really going to be hurting them, as we are starting to see two pairs here. Babz and Gibbonster looking like the fight for first and second. Dank and Nyaruko looking like the fight between who is going to be dropping out first. That gap continues to grow between third place and second place. And unless Nyaruko or Dank can really start to sort out their consistency issues and find a bit of pace, I feel like that is going to be the story for the rest of the match.
Oh, it's Nyaruko full sending it into a pole right at the start. Dank once again chasing that top pairing of Gibbonster and Babzify. And as Babz gets out to a little bit of a lead here, a reminder that Babz is on 5 points. Gibbonster is on 6. And if Babz beats Gibbonster by 1 place, if he picks up the first place, Gibbonster picks up the second, which may be the direction this map is heading. That's both of them finishing on 9 points, but Babz ahead on the head-to-head, which could be interesting. That could legitimately be Gibbonster going out on head-to-head, tied on points with Babz. But Babz will send it into a corner on that one, and Dank will claw his way back in a little bit as Gibbonster closes that points gap to first.
Yeah, Babz still managing to finish in third. That mistake from Nyaruko early on was too much, and despite that full dead wall send from Babz, he's still able to avoid the full 10-point loss. But yeah, you did talk about the table there. We were talking about this yesterday, and we think 9 points shouldn't guarantee you safety, but 9 points is going to be the cutoff. And if it ends up with players tied on 9 points, as you say, it will come down to the head-to-head, and we really could be looking at that. If Babz is able to beat out Gibbonster here by a single point, then they will end up both tied on 9, and the head-to-head would go in Babz's favor. So this could be an elimination match here between these players.
It could be exciting. Seeing Nyaruko clean things up would also be legitimately exciting, because I do still think he's shown he has the pace to challenge. He's showing it here and now as he claims the first place uncontested here at this point. But Gibbonster does want to try and make a break of it, wants to try and make a go of it. It's going to be close down to that finish line, and Dank is a little bit behind them. Nyaruko could still come back in this match. It's genuinely not out of the realm of possibility. It starts with a round win here. It starts with keeping it clean all the way to the finish line, managing to do so. Gibbonster will just watch those taillights cross the line in front of him. Gibbonster with another second, and he's had plenty of those. Dank with a third, and Babz with a rare fourth, something we haven't seen in a little while.
Yeah, finally a clean round from Nyaruko, and that really does show the true pace that he is capable of. He is still currently in last place as we go on to the last round here, but potentially seeing a turn of pace and a turn of consistency, and that needed to happen sooner rather than later for Nyaruko, because it is so easy for those points to slip away if you continue to make mistakes.
And now is the time to do it as well. Look, 4 cars still in. That first place is still a single point loss. And a few round wins is a huge swing at this point. But Nyaruko crashes, and it's a worse mistake than Dank's. And that means Nyaruko still having to chase the taillights of the cars in front, and will be eating their dust for a while to come on this map, as he needs a couple more mistakes in front of him, as Gibbonster will find Babz up at the very front, as Babz with a little bit of a slow exit to a drift.
Yep, Gibbonster pulling out a lead on Babz here. It's only a couple of tenths, and Babz is going to carry more speed onto the plastic. Gibbonster with a slightly tighter line, though. I think Babz is a little bit too far away to catch at this point. You can't really gain a lot in the last 2 turns. You maybe pull a tenth on him, but still Gibbonster takes the win with a 54-7. Dank in third, and Nyaruko dropping down another 10 points from first to fourth. There really is no in between with Nyaruko, is there? It's either clean, consistent round, beating out the competition comfortably, or big crash and all the way at the back.
Yep, and the problem being, that's 1 point lost versus 10 points lost, and getting a few consistent seconds and thirds, as Gibbonster's been doing. Gibbonster, with consistent second places, is sitting pretty in this map in first overall. It's feeling pretty good for Gibbonster, who's more often than not being the player to take second when Nyaruko has a clean round, or when Babz is looking good. It's still Gibbonster sitting there in second, and I think we have to give full credit at this point of the match to Gibbonster for being by far the most consistent player so far.
Yeah, I have to agree. Talking about Nyaruko in the context of the table, though, he's currently on 7 points. So if he was able to finish third here, beat out Dank, who looks to be the other player that could be set to drop out before Gibbonster and Babz. If he can beat Dank, he will end up on 9 points, but I still don't think that's going to be enough to save him, because then Babz and Gibbonster would both be finishing in front. I think if Gibbonster wins, Gibbonster will be on 10 points. Babz would be on 8 points. So if Nyaruko goes out in third, he needs Gibbonster to beat Babz to stay in. I think that's how it works.
I'm entering the mind palace. I'm trying to calculate all the possibilities. It's not working. I'm very dumb. It's fine. We'll figure it out once we actually do get there. You're right though. I think first place needed in this match probably for everyone except Nyaruko. And Nyaruko, if he does manage to pull it back, second place probably good enough for Nyaruko to stay alive in this competition, to remain in Div 1 for another season. But that second place still feeling pretty hard to reach right now. There's a couple more last places would drop Nyaruko down to last chance, with his opponents still on very high point totals.
Yeah, he needs consistent round wins now, which he has just not been capable of so far. He is up at the front end as things stand on this map, though. Just pulling out a little bit of a lead on Dank. It's only about a 10th. And still plenty of places to make mistakes. This seems to be the biggest one, this grass turn, but he has dealt with it pretty well there. Gets the drift on the inside of the sausage, transition over as well. Mind that outside wall as we go into the drift past the hole. Does not clip there and avoids the outside wall as well, but you can just see how this map has been designed by Mime to catch people out. Like, you're out of one turn and you think you've survived it, but immediately you find another obstacle as Nyaruko. Is he going to miss the finish here? Yes, he is. Onto the slow motion block. He's thrown it all away and all the way down to last place.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exactly what you said. It's first or it's fourth. There is no in between for Nyaruko at the moment, and unfortunately those fourths have started coming in a little bit thicker and faster the longer this match has drawn on. And instead of the -1, it's another -10, and that's a costly -10 when it drops you down to 8 points, when it drops you down to one last finish away from last chance on this match, when two of your opponents haven't even dropped below 50 points yet.
Yeah, Babz and Gibbonster separated by only 1 point, so I think that is going to be the fight for first and second, unless Dank can find some pace and consistency of his own and really close the gap up. But I think we're going to be saying goodbye to Nyaruko, which I really didn't expect. I thought he would be the one to, you know, be consistent, fast, and really challenge these guys. And I think he has the pace. I mean, he's currently set at 102.0 on this map as a local record, but just little mistakes like that is what's costing him, and he might end up in fourth here and already on last chance. We could be saying goodbye to him as early as the next round.
Going to be close then between this top two to the finish, though. It is Babz in front heading up to that last chance. Gibbonster risks it a little bit going to the right, and it is Nyaruko by the skin of his teeth in that round, keeping it clean after one small mistake, which hasn't always been the case on those mistakes. Still a last place finish. Still Nyaruko dropping to last chance here on cold. And potentially Nyaruko dropping out. A little bit disappointing, like you said. The pace has been there, the consistency not so much. And then especially in a match where Nyaruko, probably the only player who could afford something other than first place. Second would have been good enough. Just needed to drive that a little bit safer tonight and couldn't quite pull it off.
Yeah, potentially just lack of practice maybe, because I mean he did start off the league strongly, had a third place followed by a second place, but then two back-to-back lasts, and it looks like it's going to be the same this week as well. It's going to take a bit of a miracle for him to force Dank onto last chance here, but as we can see again, he's in first place in this round on merit. His pace is great, but it's just mistakes like that keep costing him, and that could be the end of him.
Yeah, I think that has to be. That's such a costly error, a full 5 seconds behind at a late stage in the map. I think that is going to be it for Nyaruko. Need to pull out the Divino strats, needed to just not crash anymore. Just make the decision to no longer make errors. That's not been the case. It is going to be 1 car, 2 car, 3 car across the line in front of Nyaruko, and it will be a 4th place finish with Dank not far behind.
Yeah, and Dank now in serious trouble because third place here will be a -10. So Gibbonster and Babz now emerging as the consistent favourites on 50 and 49 points. So seeing a very similar pattern emerging to the previous match where we could see a real fight to the finish between those two. And Dank has slipped quite a bit further behind. I don't think we've seen a round yet which hasn't seen Babz and Gibbonster 1 and 2 in one of their 2 orders. I could have said that so much better, but I didn't. But Dank seeming to be third place.
Yeah, it does seem to be, but this round, a little bit of an exception. Managing to hold on to that first in the middle of the track, and Gibbonster a little bit wider, will be carrying more speed, and Dank, he went so far inside that he came off the outside of the track ultimately, and that will be another third place finish for Dank, a costly 10 points, meaning that he is guaranteed, even if he wins the next round, to drop to last chance, because it is now -3 even for that first place. Relying on a mistake from one of these other two drivers, maybe one of them will choose to just drive off the track as well. Probably a little bit unlikely.
Oh, here comes Babz, though. He's got more speed, but Gibbonster with a more inside line. That should secure him the victory. Babz looked like he was coming back. He has a little bit more speed, and Gibbonster over the line. But Babz and Gibbonster have had such a consistent map here on cold. Been driving great times and only separated by about 0.2 over the line. And Dank looks set to be going out on our next map, which is Capital. And the match, I don't think, will be decided on Capital. We will have a deciding match on Getical. And I feel like Gibbonster was slightly faster than Babz on that occasion. They were both equally consistent. So going to be interesting to see if Babz can find that little bit of additional pace and see if he can maintain that consistency.
Okay, but will it be decided on Getical or Jetical?
Getical. It's like GIF or GIF, right? It's Getical.
Yeah. But like, I mean, if you think about it, the creator has come out and said that it's Jetical. So what? Like,
well, the creator's wrong. Like, yeah. I'm sorry. It's Getical.
Yeah. No, I know. It's just GIF or GIF. Look, we have a warm-up round to get through here. I need to do a little bit of trolling at some point in order to get through a full minute of not seeing what happens between these drivers, as we do know 100% Dank will drop to last chance on this round. As, again, even the first place is -3 here, and that last mistake on that previous round, very costly, but it does mean that if Dank gets eliminated pretty early here, all of a sudden it's -10 even for second place, and we saw how quickly the match concludes from that point on. It pours a huge amount of pressure on the two remaining drivers, and it will be fighting, most likely, for the chance to stay in Div 1 for next season at that point. It's going to be a really tense showdown.
Yeah, I think if Dank goes out here, that will be him confirmed relegated, because he's currently on 5 points, and only 2 points would put him on 7, and that isn't even enough to get him out of the drop zone without life points being adjusted. So I think we're saying goodbye to Dank as he hits the wall on the inside, and it's going to be a fight between Babz and Gibbonster, and we're going to see it play out on this map and ultimately reach a conclusion on Getical.
Yeah, I feel I put a bit of a reticle on my back with that one after saying these things out loud, but it's fine. We'll see how things do go. It's a very close battle for first at the moment. Dank 100% dropping. I think it's time to just start doing donuts. A mistake from Babz will put him behind. Gibbonster in a big mistake will put him a long way down. That's a big shift in this round because Dank has stayed in touch. That's -10 for Babz. It's only -3 for Gibbonster, and with this race about to take off between Gibbonster and Babzify, that could be costly for Babz.
Gibbonster crash, maybe? Nah, we're fine. We're fine.
Totally fine. Seriously, a 7-point swing when it's about to become a 4-point swing at best, it's going to matter, potentially.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Dank made the early mistake, but as you say, kept himself within touching distance, and Babz just needed to drive safe, but couldn't even do that, really. So that could hurt him in his fight with Gibbonster once Dank drops out, because finishing second place then will cost you a full 10 points. So a costly error to make. Needs to be finishing first and second, get rid of Dank as quickly as possible. And Babz in the lead, Dank dropping down to third with Gibbonster with the overtake there. Dank might hit the outside wall here. Didn't quite see if he did. No, he's still in contention, but Gibbonster now has a lead of about 0.2 or so.
Dank is behind, but once again, still within touching distance. One mistake,
Babz.
and the mistake will come from Babz. Paid actor Babzify, keeping his Irish brethren, the other player from Ireland, at least in this match for the time being. But again, he's losing ground to Gibbonster when he can least afford to, having kept it so close all match long, as that is Babz all the way back now. Definitely not going to be coming back into this one, unless Dank decides to take one for the team and take one for the country and just park the car, let Babz stay in range. He might try and snipe Gibbons. He won't quite get Gibbonster on the line, and Babz will keep Dank alive for another round at the cost of his own scoreline.
Yeah, Gibbonster actually made a mistake there. Just touched the wall on the outside before the grass turn, and I thought that was going to allow Dank to come back in, but Dank has survived 2 rounds on last chance here, and Babz has lost both of them. So -20 for Babz compared to only -6 for Gibbonster. It was so close between them. We thought we were going to see a real grandstand finish, but Babz has just completely dropped the ball in the last 2 rounds, and it's allowed Dank to stay alive. Babz seeming to start off the map well, but the consistency not quite there, perhaps starting to feel the pressure, and he really needs to try and find the consistency and put Gibbonster on the back foot as we go into the next map.
Babz really needs Dank to beat Gibbonster in this round while Babz picks up a win in order to close that points gap a little bit before Dank gets eliminated. If Dank gets eliminated, Dank doing a great job of clinging on at the moment, tenacious in the face of adversity, but is now being overtaken by Gibbonster, and Gibbonster will be ahead heading towards our last couple of turns then, as Dank just a little bit slow on that transition. It is still Babz holding on to a lead, and gaining a couple of points back on Gibbonster would be nice, but he'd love for Dank to take this one away. He'd love for Gibbonster to put it in the wall on this final turn. Dank very close to doing so. Babz across the line. Gibbonster takes second. Dank finally finds himself knocked out. It is a 3rd place finish. It is elimination from Div 1 at the same time. And it's Babz 5 versus Gibbonster to keep hanging on.
Well, 1 round left on this map, and Babz, I think, has the ultimate pace, but Gibbonster has the consistency. 1 round left on Capital before we go on to Getical to decide it all and see who may be staying in Div 1 and who will be dropping down. But this round looks to be a close one, separated by only a couple of hundredths at the moment. Gibbonster with an early lead, but a touch. Babz pushing everything, almost touches the outside, takes a wide line and gets a lot of speed coming out of this. So close to the wall on the exit, but he does have half a second on Gibbonster as things stand. Gibbonster with a poor landing as well, and Babz continues to extend the lead, can start to drive a little bit safer here as we go onto the plastic in the second half of the map. Babz touched the penalty grass slightly, which has allowed Gibbonster to close the gap a little bit, but still not quite within touching distance. Gibbonster has to push everything here, and at this point, I think he has to hope for a mistake from Babz at the finish. It's about half a second as things stand. Babz pushing that outside line. Is he going to make the finish okay? Yes, he does. Babz avoiding that -10 points there and bringing Gibbonster that little bit closer.
Babz kept it absolutely safe around that last turn, taking it nice and outside and room spare as he crossed the finish line underneath his wheels. Still needs a few round wins in a row, not just for confidence, but just for the sake of the scoreboard, because Babz is still losing 6 points a round. That is 6 points he can ill afford, as he needs to try and regain a little bit on Gibbonster. Just to play it out, if Babz wins this round again, Gibbonster drops to 14, Babz drops to 9. If Babz wins the round after that, Babz drops to 3, and Gibbonster drops to 4. That's 2 round wins in a row that would then put both of them on last chance at the same time. In any other scenario, Babz is hitting last chance first. That's the stakes right now in the next 2 rounds.
Yeah, and they both looked equally consistent and equally fast on this. So I think we're going to see some close rounds, potentially less mistakes, less crashes. But you have to think both of them are going to be pushing that little bit more now. They know that they're strong on this map, and they know it is all or nothing here. So I think it's going to be a very fitting climax to this match, and ultimately this could decide who out of Babz and Gibbonster remains in Div 1 for the next season.
We've talked a lot about Gibbonster's consistency so far across the match. He's been doing really well, but we specifically highlighted that he'd been doing a really great job of managing to take those second places, of being the player who wasn't making mistakes. And that's great, but now it comes down to 2-3 rounds where he needs to not just be consistent, he needs to either trust that Babz will make a mistake or find the pace to just beat Babz in the round just on pure pace. And either of those, I mean, when you're across such a small sample size, when it's only 3 potential rounds, either of those is potentially a little bit of a tough ask. Getting off the line half a second slow, that's not going to help Gibbonster out here.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what happened to Gibbonster there. I wasn't like even really paying attention to the start, but
didn't hold down forward. Literally,
Gibbonster is now 3/10 behind, and awkward lines as well. Babz very close to the wall there, but crucially not touching, so staying in the lead for the time being. But I mean, if this is a clean round from both players, then you have to feel that Gibbonster has thrown it away there just by not being ready for the round to start.
Not quite being ready, and now, as we said, relying on a mistake from Babz. And again, with only a couple of rounds for that to happen, and it gets a little bit scary. But the pressure is on, and that mistake could still come. And Babz, he's done it before on this very last turn. He has missed that finish once. He came very close to doing it again there. He will comfortably cross. That's 1 of 3 that Babz needs to win in a row. 2 to go.
Man, that outside line from Babz right at the end there is just... It gets me on the edge of my seat. Seeing his skid marks like millimeters from that wall, so nervous. I can only imagine how Babz himself is feeling driving that close to the wall when he's in front and knows that he needs to win the round.
I did lie a little bit there. Babz doesn't need to win 3 in a row, but he does need to win this one. If Babz wins this one, doesn't matter what happens next round. They both enter last chance. They both get a breather. If Babz loses here, though, he does enter last chance, and Gibbonster does get that breather all to himself for a round or two. So still a lot at stake in this round. Babz, he wanted these 2 round wins in a row to enter last chance together, and once again he's out to that lead. He's got 3/10.
Yeah, I think Gibbonster is maybe just driving a bit safer. We saw that he had similar or better pace to Babz when we were on this map before, but now either Babz has upped his pace and is still managing to be consistent, or Gibbonster is just waiting behind and hoping for a mistake, but they are not coming yet. Babz manages to make this turn, and Gibbonster is too far away to really challenge. Babz makes the finish. He's won 2 out of 2, and now Babz on 3 points. Gibbonster on 4. They will both go on to last chance in the next round, whatever happens, and then it will be one final round on Getical to decide who wins in this match and potentially who stays in Div 1.
Yeah, they do still need to both get across the line here. That's important, okay? Nobody can crash so much that they do not get a finish. Do not fat finger your DNF button. That is the only thing that matters right now. But I think both of these players, we're still going to see them push this round, Orion, because they still want to stay warm. You do not want to lose your edge when it all comes down to a single round to stay in Div 1.
Yeah, this match for them, this round for them can just be a test of pace. It doesn't matter if they crash, whatever happens, they are going to be going on to last chance here. So this is just where they can push and see where their limit is. It seems like Gibbonster, as we were expecting, does actually have the pace advantage, but is just trying to safe a little bit and drive consistently. He's currently half a second in front of Babz, so shows what he is capable of when he has a clean round. But I think those last 2 rounds were just hoping for a mistake from Babz, which never came. He's driven a 54.4 here. Babz has actually driven a 53.9 as a local record, so Babz still with the pace advantage, you have to say, although Gibbonster 54.0. Yeah. Actually, I've just seen that. There's nothing separating them.
Babz finished with 2 seconds to spare before getting DNF there.
Wow.
Okay, Babz, you made it risky. He missed the finish twice. Not going to do wonders for the confidence when it comes down to a single round. Fastest player on track stays in Division 1 of the British and Irish Professional League for 1 more season. Babz having sat out a week. Gibbonster incredibly consistent all night long, but it is Babz who has the early pace.
It does. Gibbonster with a touch. Gibbonster has touched there. He's going to be about a second behind, and Babz will see that on the overlay. He'll know that he has the advantage and can just drive it safely home now, but the nerves are still going to be there. He's going to be shaking holding his controller, but he is still driving consistently as things stand. Full safing, going nowhere near those walls as he goes onto the black platform turn. Gibbonster still a second behind onto the plastic. Babz just needs to survive this last drift and make the finish. Makes the drift. He's lost a bit of speed though. Where is Gibbonster? Not quite there. Babz just makes it, and Babz takes the win in the match and goes all the way up to 9 points, and that could guarantee him safety in Division 1.
It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed.
It's not, but
Babz,
it could
though,
be.
has done everything within his power tonight to keep himself in Div 1 on 9 points, having taken the head-to-head against Gibbonster here. And Gibbonster made a fight of it. That was incredibly close. And all of our focus on those last few rounds, Ryan, was on if Gibbonster would be able to keep it clean and maybe find the pace, and if Babz would make a mistake. And in the final round, instead, it's Gibbonster who has the touch.
Wait a minute. I'm looking at... Hold on. Hold the phone. I'm looking at live scoreboards.
Oh,
right.
no.
So, tied on 9th place, Jorday, Shawnee Wolf, Gibbonster, Charge JT, and Babz. Babz is currently the one in the drop zone, but he has won his 1v1 with Gibbonster and will push him out. Gibbonster, with that round, is eliminated into Div 2, and Babz has booked his place in Div 1 for next season.
Sure, but they're all tied on 9 points. And what are the other head-to-heads? Is there a 3-way head-to-head going on anywhere in here? Does the rulebook allow for that? These are questions that we need to go away and get answers to. We're going to throw to a quick break, and then we will be back for Orion to answer these questions. And luckily, I don't have to. Good luck, analysts. Welcome back to the British and Irish Professional League, where apparently I accidentally lied through my teeth. I do have to figure out what's going on with the standings, but in order to defer that responsibility for a little bit longer, we're going to talk to Babz instead. Babz, you won!
I did, yeah.
I mean, it did not look like a sure thing.
It was much closer than I would have liked, yeah.
I mean, you drove incredibly well. We felt on the cast like Gibbonster just driving incredibly consistently was putting a huge amount of pressure on you.
Yeah, I feel like depending on the maps, we kind of had preferences, and my focus going into this week was to try and focus on consistency and just drive a decent pace, just try and put the pressure on the other guys. But yeah, I feel like it went both ways. He put pressure on me, I put pressure on him, and I think have a good fight in the end.
Yeah, incredible stuff. I'm going to throw it to Amma. Amma, do you have any questions for Babz while we're here?
I mean, we just talked about it, but talk me through the last round, dude. How were the nerves? How did you feel it?
Absolutely off the charts. I've never played a round where I was that nervous. I think on Capital, the second last map, I had 2 bad rounds where I felt I really should have done better because Capital seemed like a good map for me. And then that put me in a bit of a disadvantage. And I managed to claw Gibbon back into the 1v1 at least. And yeah, it just, I mean, I've been in that situation before and knew has casted that before. And I kind of thought about that moment and said, sure, it comes down to this. There's nothing to lose. Just drive.
Entirely fair. Leo, what have you got for Babz?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like going into that game, basically a win. You would have needed a win, essentially, to stay in the league. Going into this match, what were you telling yourself? Did you do anything differently, or how did you prepare?
Yeah, I think over the last 5 weeks, I haven't performed to a level even near what I would expect from myself, which was quite disappointing. I think I was quite missing a bit of confidence in the last few weeks. Just made me drive overall not as good as I would have liked. So this last week I felt like it was all or nothing. So I put time into the maps. I focused on consistency. I played rounds. Before my match I was on the round server for 2 hours, just getting used to the maps, getting that muscle memory up, and I think that served me well because even when I did make mistakes, I was able to then come back. So I'm just super glad that paid off.
Yeah, it paid off because Babz, you are now the only player flying the Irish flag in Div 1. How's that feel? I mean, not great, right?
Honestly, right now it feels amazing.
Well, sure, yeah, for you, but I'm speaking as an Irishman right now, and I'd appreciate if you do the same. Obviously, we need more Irish representation up there.
No, we definitely do, and we will see more Irish representation. I'm just glad that I could kind of save our honor and stay in it for the next season. Having missed the week and not getting any points from one of the weeks, I'm glad that I managed to stay up. My goal probably at the start was just to try and get Div 1 and then see how it went. But I'm more than happy with the result.
Yeah, incredible. And I don't want to put a dampener on it either, because as you say, gotta feel incredible right now. You drove incredibly well. You kept it safe when we were kind of questioning if you were going to make that mistake in the final rounds. Instead, Gibbonster, under the pressure you were putting on, did it instead. Babz, is there anything else you'd like to add before we say goodbye to you here?
Yeah, thanks everyone. GG's to Naya, Gibbo, and Dank. It was a really fun match. I hope it was really fun to watch as well. And yeah, hopefully the production is going well. I had Nua and Orion's voices. I had your voices in my ears during a few rounds.
Yeah, no, production's going great. I'm not being held at gunpoint and forced to say that. Don't worry about it at all. Babz, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations again on managing to stay in Dublin. Congratulations on the match win.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.